Hello and welcome to Bookkeeping 101 Part 2. In Bookkeeping 101 Part 1, we reviewed financial types and financial accounts, contributions, pledges, and pledge contributions. In Bookkeeping 101 Part 2, we will review pledge adjustments, partially deductible contributions, credit card contributions, and pay balances transactions. We are on a contact record in the back office. We've just received a call that this contact has lost her job and won't be able to pay off her member dues pledge for the next few months. This is what we call an adjustment in JManage. To record a payment or adjustment against a pledge, we click on the Record Payment or Adjustment button. As opposed to leaving the financial type on the default of the financial type of the pledge, we need to select an adjustment financial type. You can have multiple adjustment financial types. It really just depends on your reporting needs. An adjustment financial type follows very strict syntax. It must start with a lowercase a, followed by a dash with no space between the T and the dash. Anything after the dash is entirely up to you. Now, our contact said she would not be able to pay off her pledge for a few months, so we're going to give her an adjustment of $300. The received date and time default to today's date and time. We changed the payment method to one of non-monetary since adjustment contributions are non-monetary contributions, but they do serve to reduce the balance due on a pledge. They function much like credit memos or write-offs that you use in a typical general ledger system. Scrolling down to the Additional Details section and clicking to expand it, we can include a note in the Notes field that's visible only to someone in the back office. If you recall in Bookkeeping 101 Part 1, we reviewed the source field. We scroll back up just to look at it. This is a field that is visible on most reports, screens, and on statements. It's in the notes field of a contribution where you would include any sensitive information. We click to save the contribution and are returned to the Pledge tab. Clicking on the black arrow, we can see the impact of that $300 adjustment on our pledge payment schedule. In effect, it took care of the following 3 months, May, June, and July. You'll see that those installments have been zeroed out, and we see a total received of $400. Now, if we click on the Financial Summary tab, we'll see a little bit more detail as to what was actually received versus the $300 amount that was actually adjusted. We have a total balance remaining of $800 on the pledge. Just a word about this Financial Summary tab that we keep coming back to. It's going to show you anything that's due as of or received as of the start of the current fiscal year. It provides you with a nice at-a-glance view of all of the financial information pertaining to permissioned members of your household. The Financial Summary tab can also show you a preview of tax information either for the current calendar year or for the prior calendar year. Up until now, we've dealt with fully deductible or fully non-deductible contributions. I'll show you how to record a partially deductible contribution and what that will look like in the preview of tax information on the Financial Summary tab. We click on the New Contribution button, and let's say you're having a fundraising dinner, part of the fee of which is non-deductible. So the total amount of the contribution will be $100, but we need to mark $30 of that $100 as non-deductible. The non-deductible amount field is located in the Additional Details section at the very bottom of the Record Contribution screen. In this field is where we would record that $30 of the $100 contribution is non-deductible. Again, to recap, we have a fundraising dinner reported on a financial type that is set up as fully deductible. The total amount of the contribution is $100, $30 of which are non-deductible, as we have marked in the non-deductible field. We click to save the contribution, and we're returned to the Contributions tab. We can click out of those little messages, and we can see the detail of all of the contributions that we have recorded on this tab. If we want to look more closely at the fundraising dinner contribution, we click on the black arrow and we'll get a little more detail. We can also click on the Financial Summary tab and switch the layout to see a preview of tax information for the current calendar year. As you can see, we see this fundraising dinner split out into a $70 deductible amount and a $30 non-deductible amount. We'll see any other deductible contributions listed here. What we will not see in this preview are any adjustment contributions. That's because they really have no place on a tax letter. They have no tax benefit. Depending on which tokens you use, this will also be virtually the same thing that you will see when you create year-end tax letters for your donors. Up until now, we've seen how to record cash, check, and non-monetary contributions. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to record a credit card contribution. To record a credit card contribution, we click on the New Automated Credit Card Contribution button. We select the financial type. We'll just do a straight-up donation in this case. We enter the amount. And we enter the credit card information. Now this is dummy credit card information, so no point in stealing it. It's not going to get you very far. And that's it. We're done. We just click Save. And we're returned to the Contributions tab where we see that credit card donation that we just made. If we click the black arrow, we can see a little more detail. We can see the transaction ID and the fact that the contribution is in completed status. And if we click back to the financial summary, we'll also see it listed there. So that was a one-time credit card contribution. Now I'm going to show you how to record a recurring credit card contribution. We use the same button, the New Automated Credit Card Contribution button. We can click out of this little notice at the top there. We select the financial type. This recurring contribution is being set up for a total of $900 payable in 9 monthly installments. What we need to enter in the total amount field is the amount of a single installment. The reason for this is that the system will then multiply the total amount of an individual installment by the number of installments that we enter in the following fields. Then we toggle the Every checkbox and we indicate 9 installments. System date defaults to today, but that can be changed. Depending on your payment processor, you may be able to create a post-dated recurring contribution. We'll enter in our dummy credit card information, and then we click Save, and we've got our recurring credit card contribution. Once we click Save, we'll return to the Contributions tab. We can just click out of these little notice screens, and we see here listed at the top the actual first installment of the recurring subscription that we just created, and at the bottom of the screen in the recurring contributions section we see the overall subscription. We see it set up for $100 for every 1 month beginning April 19th for 9 installments. Clicking through to the Financial Summary tab, we see that the system calculates the total amount due on the recurring subscription as $900, $100 of which has been received, leaving an $800 balance. So as you can see, recurring credit card contributions function much like pledges. They are obligations with a total amount due that is being paid off in installments. Recurring contributions would take the place of a pledge, or vice versa. You would either have a pledge or a recurring contribution. Otherwise, it would look like you're double billing the contact. Sometimes contacts will want to replace pledges with a recurring credit card contribution. This can be done by using the pay balances function. Note how there is still $800 due on the membership dues pledge. If we use the pay balances function by clicking the pay existing balances using installments or in full button, we get taken to what we call in JManage the pay balance page. Here we'll see the balance of the membership dues pledge listed. When we toggle the checkbox, the fields automatically populate with the relevant information, and the system indicates that the last possible installment date is February 28th. Depending on the frequency we select, the system will automatically calculate how many installments and what amount we need to pay for each installment. If we select monthly, we'll get 11 installments, and if we select semi-annually, we have time to pay in 2 installments of $400 each. If a contact has more than one pledge to pay off, you would be able to select as many as desired to be paid off in a single recurring contribution. We enter our dummy credit card information, and then we scroll down to the bottom to click on the Confirm button. Once we do, we get taken to a confirmation page where we can review the details of our transaction. Without clicking the Make Contribution button, the contribution will not be made. So you need to make sure that you review. If you need to make any edits, you can click Go Back. But once you're sure everything is good, you click on Make Contribution, and you're presented with a contribution confirmation screen that has the transaction number of the actual contribution and so forth. Once we're done, we click on the JManage link at the top left-hand corner and use our recent items to access our contacts record. We'll click on the Pledge tab to see what happened to the pledge. As you can see, the pledge status has now been canceled. What this means is the balance of $800 that's showing is now no longer due. We still see the history of payments made against the pledge, and when we click to view the Contributions tab, we now see a recurring contribution in progress set up for 2 installments of $400 every 6 months. We also see that first installment that was processed as soon as we submitted the contribution through the Pay Balances page. Clicking back to the Financial Summary tab, we see now that there are 2 lines for member dues, one representing the original $100 contribution made against the pledge, and the second representing the online recurring contribution that we just created via the Pay Balances page. This brings us to the end of Bookkeeping 101 Part 2. We covered pledge adjustments, partially deductible contributions, credit card contributions, and pay balances transactions. Thanks for watching.